Thank you everyone for joining our session today. Welcome to NEOM House. My name is Mohammed. I'll be moderating this session with our guest and our speaker today, Juan Carlos Motamayor. And Juan leads Topian in NEOM. Topian is the food sector company of NEOM. And please join me in welcoming Juan Carlos to this session. And Juan, thank you for joining us from NEOM. We're here from Davos. It's actually sunny. It's beautiful. We have a crowd of around 30, 40 people, all interested in what NEOM is doing and what does the future of food look like and what do we think about when we think about food in NEOM and the future of the food industry in NEOM. So Juan, maybe to start things, let's get an overview about the vision of the food sector in NEOM and what does Topian think about the future of food in NEOM?
Yeah. Great. Thank you for the opportunity. In NEOM, we are all about contributing to diversify the economy of the kingdom through the development of industries that are future forward thinking, that are addressing some of the challenges humanity is facing today, such as climate change, such as the need to produce renewable and utilize renewable energy and optimize the health systems and the health industry and so on. So in food, there are two key challenges that we are addressing through the NEOM food company, Topian. The first is the fact that the food industry is the industry that consumes the most water, and it is the second largest industry in terms of contributions in greenhouse emissions. And beyond these aspects related to sustainability and the impact of climate change and the impact of climate change in the food industry, we are also addressing the fact that we are what we eat and that food-related diseases have a major impact in the global economy through diabetes, obesity, and so on. So this is why we created Topian, to empower the consumer to make a difference through the food choices they make, to make a difference a bite at a time, in terms of contributing to the health of the planet and to their own health, to the consumer health. And we do that by creating awareness about our strong brand guardrails that have been developed around our principle of the art of more with less, the art of more food with less water, with less emissions, and the art of more nutrition with less calories, with less additive, with no pesticides, no antibiotics, and so on. So I believe that it is time to have a food company that people can trust, that takes away the pain of the consumer to have to read all the labels in details to see if there could be chemicals or additives that are not well described in the label, and allow the consumer to make a difference through their food choices. And this is why we have organized our work and the way we believe we can make an impact in terms of food production through what we call climate-proof agriculture, and it's around how to produce more food with less water, and I will talk more about that because it is not only about agriculture through controlled environment agriculture, but it's also through aquaculture and ways to produce fish with having minimum or zero impact into the environment, because we believe that fish from the seas is a source of protein that have very low freshwater footprint, and it is very relevant for the kingdom and for countries that are being exposed to the same environment that we see in the kingdom in terms of water scarcity and high temperatures. Novel foods, which is also around having alternative proteins that are plant-based or cell-based that have also a lower water footprint. And then a way to optimize food production decentralization, make food production closer to the consumer in a way that we reduce greenhouse emissions and we allow the consumer to know exactly how the food was transported, was processed through a strong traceability system. So this is how we have organized our work, and we believe that what we do in Saudi Arabia is relevant to the rest of the world, again, because the impact of climate change that translates into higher temperatures and to extended drought is seen in many regions of the world through the years, as again due to the trends on the weather of climate change. So that's our vision.
Thank you, Juan, for that sharing that ambitious vision, and I share that as a from health and well-being and as a physician. More for less is better for the health of our bodies, but also the health of our planet. Maybe Juan can share more about what Topian is doing today and what it's planning to do going forward. What discussions are happening with existing partners, or what partners you're seeking, and how you're aiming to deliver on that vision, Juan.
Yes. So as I mentioned, we're working in controlled environment agriculture, for example, which involve high-tech greenhouses and involve vertical farms. We're working, as mentioned, on novel foods, which at this point we're focused on alternative to animal-based proteins, alternatives either plant-based or cell-based. And as we talk about these two industries, vertical farms and plant-based meats, for example, we have seen in the last 2 years in the newspapers, in the press, that these industries have not been as successful as we originally thought. And this is in part due to the fact that there have been a buzz about these industries, and some of these companies raise a lot of money very fast, and to increase their valuations started to deploy this capital very fast without making sure that they had the right product market fit. So we are doing things different. We strongly believe that these industries have a future because the water footprint, for example, as mentioned, of controlled environment agriculture versus regular agriculture is 1/10 if we compare tomatoes, for example, the way we are producing regarding the way tomatoes are producing traditionally, or if we think on plant-based dairy, the water footprint regarding regular dairy is also 1/10. So we believe that for the kingdom and the world, all these industries are necessary because we can't continue producing food the way we are doing it, as there were no limitations in terms of water availability. However, we are doing things differently. As mentioned, we are not rushing into scaling up these new technologies without making sure we have validated the right production costs according to our business plans, and that we have secured the right or the proper product market fit. And we do that through collaborations with companies in all these industries, as I mentioned, on controlled environment agriculture, or in aquaculture, or in novel foods, to develop commercial pilots that allow us to validate the capex of the infrastructure, the operations through the time, the productivity of the business plans, and the product market fit, as mentioned, the consumer acceptance, the prices the consumers can or are willing to pay for these products, and then we decide to scale up once we have all of this validated. And I believe there is a need in the world for a location where there is this appetite to validate these new industries that are necessary for the future of the world at the right pace. And in NEOM, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, because the openness of the government and the sense of urgency to find the solution, as well as the openness of the consumers to try products that are better for their health and the health of the planet, we believe that we are very well placed to host companies to partner with us and validate this technology and then deploy it then at a scale to address market needs, not only of the MENA region, but also Europe and beyond.
Thank you, Juan. I think that's great. So a lot of the people we've interacted with this week are in the innovative food industry, and sharing that approach of the innovative cycle of food is probably going to trigger a lot of discussions going forward. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe to crystallize this conversation, to showcase some examples of some of these technologies or innovations that we're looking at in NEOM and Topian. Can you share with us across the value chain of food some example technologies that we are now experimenting or discussing with Topian?
Yeah, so I will start with aquaculture, for example. As mentioned, aquaculture is a unique source of protein in terms of freshwater use. We have in the kingdom lots of coast and kilometers of coast to deploy various production systems, and the kingdom has very aggressive targets in terms of reaching self-sufficiency for fish. Now, for fish, there is the perception that all aquaculture activities have a negative impact into the marine ecosystem. And we believe that's not true. We believe there are ways to produce fish in the marine ecosystem without having a negative impact. And we are various production systems that we are pioneering through these commercial pilots. So we'll talk about, for example, sea pens or sea cages. There have been a lot of negative press about the impact of open sea cages into the environment. So we are testing through these commercial pilots multiple approaches. Some are submergible sea cages. So those allow us to deploy these systems in areas where there are significant more currents and significant less impact in terms of waste into the marine ecosystem, and also allows to produce various types of fish that require lower temperatures, because we can produce them at higher depth, and we also get less exposure to parasites. But we are also pioneering what we call enclosed sea cages, and this is an intermediary system between sea cages and what we call recirculated aquaculture systems, which are on land. These enclosed sea cages have a system where the water that is used to grow the fish is filtered when it's coming inside and when it's coming outside. So all the biosolids are collected, and also the water can be sterilized when it goes out. So that way we make sure that there is zero impact, negative impact into the ecosystem. We collect that waste, and then that waste is used in multi-trophic aquaculture systems to grow other species that improve the biodiversity of the region around mangrove with bivalve and things like that. However, at the same time, I mentioned recirculated aquaculture systems. These, also all of these in partnerships that we are going to start potentially, or most probably next year, then produce all the fish on land, filters all the water in and all the water out. One key aspect on all of these systems is that we are developing digital twins to make sure that we collect data to model how we can decrease costs, because as mentioned, many of these companies in all of these areas have scaled too quickly without having the right scaling up approach in terms of the right modeling of capex versus sales. And we believe that with all the data we're collecting, we will completely de-risk the scaling up of these new technologies. I will, for the sake of time, I will mention only a few more on agriculture. So on agriculture, as you may know, we have open fields, but we have what we call controlled environment agriculture, where we have greenhouses and vertical farms. And there we are combining multiple technologies of controlling environment agriculture according to various locations where we have different environmental conditions to optimize the combination of technologies that allow us to minimize water use and maximize production and also profit. Because again, the challenges with all of some of these food technology companies is that they start deploying lots of technology from the beginning, and then it becomes more of a technology play than a commercial play. And we believe that through data collection, through developing all these models, we can optimize the scaling of phases so that we are sure that we are sustainable from a funding and financing and revenue standpoint.
Brilliant, Juan. These are great examples. Not only doing more with less, but thinking about a circular economy, and with the theme of World Economic Forum this year, using data and the intelligent age to improving our sustainable approaches in food industry. I'll open the floor for any questions now from the guests in the hall. Any questions for Juan? Or any comments?
Yeah, you just mentioned about the rate of return and that we should not be driven by technology and try to look for early returns. And that's very important because, as you said, tech guys keep doing tech to try and get it perfect, just like Microsoft. It's always shipped. It's never a perfect Microsoft product. So any idea of how fast you get ROI on this and for a break even, or if you cover your operating costs at least?
Yeah. So far, on paper, all the commercial pilots that we have started, they all are profitable. Now we are starting to sell products, so now we are validating how much the consumer is willing to pay. So we need 1 or 2 years of operations to validate our models, but so far, everything that we have started, it is generating revenue. And again, as mentioned, we need to find a balance between the combination of technologies where by having some low tech with high tech according to different locations, different production systems, etc., we can find balance between the level of investment in technology and the level of overall revenue so that we can generate enough income to fund the operations of all these different systems over the years to then validate them and then decide which ones to scale up.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we have one question here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing with us. My name is Slava Trotsenko. I represent Davos Systems. We build automation processes on the ServiceNow platform for manufacturers. I just wanted to ask, what are your plans regarding automations? Because I understand that new technologies, they need tech in it. Yeah, please share.
Yes, at this point, we are not so focused on automation on greenhouses or some of the aquaculture systems we have, because labor is not as expensive as it could be in other regions of the world. We will use automation when it will make sense, but so far in our models for harvesting or for plant treatments and so far, we don't have that much systems. The only automated system we have, though, which is completely automatic, is on lettuce production. So we have 2 large high-tech greenhouses that we developed with Van der Hoven, which is a high-tech greenhouse developer in Netherlands, where from seeding to harvesting, it is all fully automatized. But the reason we did that is not necessarily to save money, but we did that to make sure, of course, there is an implication of saving money, but it's mostly to avoid incidents of pests and diseases. All the area where the lettuce is grown is isolated, is all automatized, and nobody gets in and out. So that was the main justification, which of course translates into savings. But other than the whole lettuce process at this point, we have not. But we are open to hear about potential collaborations. Again, we believe that NEOM and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have a perfect location because of all of these aspects I mentioned, sense of urgency for the government to addressing the need to find solutions to food production in water-scarce environments, the openness of the consumer, and so on. We are very open to host companies who want to do tests with us and share the risk on these technology validations.
Thank you, Juan. I think we have just time for one last question. And the gentleman in the back.
Thank you, and hello. Harun Lone, representing Swiss BioShield. I was wondering what different water resources you have there, what the quality is, and the challenges you face there.
Yes. So Saudi Arabia is the largest country without a river, and 80% of the water use is focused on agriculture. As you know, it is also the largest country in terms of production of desalinated water. And we believe that we need to pioneer the use of desalinated water in agriculture because, as mentioned, water, it is a major crisis. We expect a gap between supply and demand by 2030 that could reach 40%. Of course, it is not distributed all around the world equally, but you right now in Switzerland certainly have a lot of water, snow, etc., but that's not the case of many regions in the world. So at this point, we are working a lot on decreasing water use in all our systems because we want to demonstrate that it is profitable to produce food using desalinated water or a combination of desalinated water with underground water, because the underground water resources are not unlimited.
Excellent. Thank you, Juan. One maybe last thought from you, Juan. That background you have is a farm on a table. Maybe tell us, what does that resemble for you as a closing remark for our audience?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So it is our concept that we call future to table. So where we believe that the solutions the world required to address the water scarcity issue, the fact that food is consuming water more than any other industry. The food industry consumes water more than any other industry, and is also the second largest contributor in terms of greenhouse emissions, requires everyone to sit on a table and find and work collaboratively on creating those solutions that are needing to address something that we don't talk enough, which is the impact of climate change on food production and the impact of food production on climate change. With every degree Celsius in terms of temperature increases, without taking into account the fact of droughts and water scarcity, we can expect up to 7%, and sometimes, depending on the crops, much more yield losses. And we believe we are not putting enough attention to the need to find these solutions, to find a balance between the demands of the food industry and the resources that we have available.
Thank you, Juan. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, and for more discussions going forward around how to protect our body and our planet and consume good food and produce good food. Thank you very much. Thank you for the audience. Give me a round of applause for Juan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.